The rain had been falling since morning, soft, steady, and relentless. Through the large window of a quiet Seattle hospital room, the gray sky looked heavy, mirroring the weight inside Bill Gates' heart, the founder of Microsoft. One of the most powerful men in the world sat silently beside his father's hospital bed, holding his hand as if afraid that letting go would make the inevitable real. William H. Gates Sr., once tall, strong, and full of commanding presence, now looked fragile, his breathing slow, his skin pale against the white sheets. Machines whispered softly in the background, each beep a cruel reminder that time was slipping away. "Dad," Bill whispered, his voice barely steady. "Do you remember that day you drove me to Harvard?" A faint smile touched his father's lips. His voice, weak but warm, broke through the quiet. "How could I forget? You were so excited. I thought you'd conquer the world right from that dorm room." Bill let out a shaky laugh. "And then I dropped out." His father's tired eyes twinkled for a moment. "You didn't drop out, Bill. You just took a different route. A route no one else could see." That was the thing about William Gates Sr. He never measured his son's worth by success or failure. When others criticized Bill for leaving Harvard to chase a dream no one believed in, his father stood by him. "If this is what you believe in, go for it," he had said then. "The world needs dreamers who do, now." Decades later, sitting in that quiet hospital room, Bill realized how much those words had shaped him. "Dad," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you've always been the reason I never gave up. When I was scared, you gave me courage. When I failed, you reminded me that failure is just a lesson." His father's eyes grew soft. "And look what you did with those lessons, son. You changed the way people live and work. You built something bigger than yourself." Bill's throat tightened. "But none of it would have mattered if you hadn't believed in me." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The rain outside seemed to fill the silence, each drop echoing like a heartbeat in the distance. Bill's memories swirled his childhood in Seattle, nights spent watching his father work late, the sound of his calm voice guiding him through every doubt. He remembered how his father had always emphasized kindness. "When you have more than you need," he'd once said, "build a longer table, not a taller fence." That principle became the foundation of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a reflection of his father's soul. "Dad," Bill said softly, "you always told me that real success isn't about what we earn, but what we return." His father smiled faintly, his voice trembling. "And you did just that, son. You gave back more than I ever imagined. That's the kind of legacy that lives forever." Bill felt his chest tighten. Tears welled in his eyes, but he blinked them away. "I wish I could have done more for you, Dad." His father's frail hand squeezed his. "You already have, Bill. You made me proud every single day." The machines hummed quietly. Bill leaned closer, his voice barely a whisper. "Do you remember when Mom died? You said life isn't about how long it lasts, but how deeply we live it." I didn't understand it then, but I do now. Mr. Gates smiled, his eyes distant but peaceful. "Your mother would be proud too. You know, she always knew you were meant to make a difference." The words hit Bill like a wave. His heart felt both heavy and light, heavy with loss, light with love. "Dad," he whispered again, "I'm scared." His father's weak hand trembled slightly. "Of what, son?" "Of the world without you." A faint chuckle escaped his father's lips. "The world won't be without me, Bill. You'll carry me with you in every act of kindness, in every decision to help others, in every dream you inspire." Bill couldn't hold back anymore. He bent his head, tears streaming silently down his cheeks. "Thank you, Dad. For everything. For believing in me when no one else did. For teaching me that the greatest thing a man can do is give." His father's breathing slowed, his voice fading but full of warmth. "Then keep giving, son. That's how you'll find me." The rain outside began to ease. The room grew still. Bill listened, one heartbeat, then another. Then silence. He looked at his father, peaceful at last, and whispered, "I'll keep my promise, Dad. I'll make the world a better place for you." Bill sat there for a long time, holding his father's hand, staring out the window at the clearing sky. A ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, lighting up the room with a golden glow, as if heaven itself had opened a door. In that moment, Bill realized something profound. Success fades, wealth disappears, but love stays forever. From that day forward, Bill Gates' mission changed. It was no longer about building empires of technology. It was about building bridges of humanity. Every vaccine funded, every child educated, every family lifted out of poverty. It was his father's legacy living through him. Whenever he faced doubt, Bill remembered those last words, "Keep giving, son." And he did. Years later, when people asked Bill Gates about the most important lesson his father ever taught him, he said simply, "My father taught me that being kind is more important than being rich." And that's a lesson I'll never forget.